More than 20 Labor figures have added their names to the growing list calling for the Prime Minister to change his mind and greenlight a royal commission. Joining me live now is the Industry and Innovation Minister Tim Ayres. Tim, good to see you.
G'day,
what
Trudy.
would it take for the Prime Minister to change his mind at this point?
Well, this isn't about what the politically easy approach is. This is about doing what's right for the country. And the judgment that the Prime Minister and the government have formed is that the approach that we're taking, which is about urgency, about unity, is the right course. That's a broad-ranging response. It means, of course, making sure that the prosecution of the remaining perpetrator of this atrocity in Bondi is fully prosecuted to the extent of the law, that the Richardson inquiry gets stuck into the detail of the intelligence agency's response and the broader responses of the two governments here to make sure that we've got the capability in our intelligence agencies that we require for the future, fully implementing the Siegel report, including the Gonski review, working with our education institutions to make sure that we're dealing with anti-Semitism effectively. And that work starts from just a few weeks ago. It's a much more urgent response than the delay and the division that would be delivered by the approach of a royal commission. That is not
but
where
Tim,
this
Tim, you talk
at.
about unity. It stands to me at the moment, with a growing number of Labor figures now adding their voice to calls for a royal commission. We've seen it from within your own Labor caucus here in Canberra, Ed Husic, Mike Freelander, but today over 20 former Labor figures, including Mike Kelly, Michael Danby, Michael Costa, Nova Peris, believe that a royal commission federally is what's needed here. It strikes me that there is a level of unity. It's not just coalition MPs calling for this, it's much broader than that.
Well, of course, there's debate about this issue, and there's many good-hearted people who see something as terrible as what occurred. It is the worst onshore terrorist attack that impacts Australians in our history. And it's not a surprise that people see that. They see anti-Semitism in the community that we haven't seen in our lifetimes, really, emerging from various parts of the community. The fear that Jewish Australians feel about that, and the deep concern that those of us who care for our Jewish community feel. It's not a surprise that people gravitate towards a view that they want to see something big happen here, and a royal commission sounds like something big. But it's our view as the government to form a view. It's our role, I should say, as the government to form a view about what is in the interests of Australia, what is in the interests of getting the most urgent and effective response. And we firmly believe, not as a matter of political convenience, but as a matter of national interest, that the approach that we've outlined is the right approach. We'll work carefully with the New South Wales government. We'll work across the intelligence agencies. Dealing with anti-Semitism, I have to say, is everybody's business. It's work for all of us. That's why the work, for example, that Gillian Siegel's led for the government, but David Gonski will be working in across the education system, is so important. To dealing with these challenges.
But
it's
Tim,
all of our responsibility.
Back to the central
We've all got a role to
question
play.
here. You point to the fact that this is the biggest terror attack we've seen in this country. It seems like the approach at the moment is to set a bar now that is so high for a royal commission that would basically mean you won't be able to do one at all under an Albanese government. If the biggest terror attack in our country does not meet the threshold for this sort of inquiry, we've seen one with veteran suicides, that scourge we've seen in our defence community. When it came to robo-debt, that was considered a bar high enough that should be looked at. When Labor was in opposition, they called for a banking royal commission, that was something that deserved this sort of examination. I think people are looking at this and wondering if the bar is so high for a royal commission, how can it not be met with this sort of attack?
Well, take the Veterans Royal Commission. It's a really important piece of work, and the Royal Commission was commissioned, if I can put it like that, because there was uncertainty across government, across the institutions, across the ADF, across all of the community institutions about how to effectively respond. And there was a job of work that the Royal Commission engaged in there to elevate the issues, to work with, to develop.
So your
an
argument is
evidence
that there's
base
no
for the
uncertainty
right
as to the
approach.
path that the government needs to take to anti-Semitism. That's the argument now. There isn't lessons that need to be learnt from what we've seen.
There is work to be done across the community on anti-Semitism, including within the government. There is work to do here across our education institutions. All of the work that Gillian Siegel's report points to, there is work to do with the intelligence agencies. That work is on foot now. Like, it's on foot now. Not being delayed by 2.5 years of a Royal Commission that in our view is not necessary to get the work done, to get Australia in the place that it needs to be in on these questions, whether it's the work of our intelligence agencies right across to the broader work that the government does with the states and across the education system. That's work that we're going to get on with now. There will be legislation in the Parliament in coming weeks to continue to calibrate and to strengthen and harden Australia's response to all of these issues, whether it's hate preachers, racial vilification, hate speech. All of these questions clearly require a hardened response, and that is what the government is setting about delivering now.
And Tim, I want to ask you about a hypothetical. If Dennis Richardson, at the end of his work when he reports back to government in April, were to find that in his view there does need to be a broader look and a Royal Commission that will be required, is that something that the government would listen to?
Well, I don't engage in hypotheticals, of course, Trudy. We're listening very closely, including to views that are different to our own. It's a hallmark of this government. We're not frightened of alternative views. We engage with them all of the time. We listen closely to our friends and partners in the Jewish community, right across Australian society. We're not frightened of different views, but at the end of the day, it's our job as a government to act in the national interest and to develop an approach. And our approach is all about urgency and unity. And the approach that's been advocated, the alternative approach, would deliver delay and division. Now, it's our job as a government to deliver an urgent response and to bring Australians together to strengthen Australia's resilience here, to make sure that Australians are safe, and we're setting about doing that work right now.
And Tim, on a final matter, it was revealed in the Nightly yesterday that the AFP National Surveillance Team was disbanded because of funding shortfalls just weeks before the attack. Are you able to explain why that happened, and would that have been able to prevent what happened at Bondi?
Well, I've read the story as close as I am to that story, Trudy, I have to say. I mean, these kind of decisions, operational decisions that the AFP would make about how it shifts its resources around to meet the challenges that it has to meet, are really a matter for the AFP. If there's any more that the government can say about that, of course we will. But I'm not close to those sort of operational decisions in the Australian Federal Police.
Tim Ayres, Industry and Innovation Minister, always appreciate you fronting up. Thank you.
Thanks, Trudy. See you later.